How in the world are the daughters married but also virgins? There are some solutions for this. The more classic solution, which is what the Jewish sages recommended, was that Lot had four daughters. And this does work out. So we assume that two that were virgins still live with Lot, and two were married and living with their husbands. This makes sense of Lot offering his two virgins to the mob, even though theoretically he had at least two daughters that were married or soon to be married. The difficulty with this view, though, is that the only clue in which we were given that there might be more than two daughters is when they escaped. And the word is used, hanimsaot. That's a tough. There's way too many syllables in that word. But it translates into either remaining or remaining here, or a more literal translation is to be found. So we'll go back and read the passage.
I mean, you're saying two of them remained with their awful husbands and got killed, right?
Well, that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So in 15 it says, when the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, arise, take your wife and your two daughters who are here, lest you be consumed.
We're here.
In the
That's
punishment
what you're saying, right?
of the sitting. Yeah.
Because the other two aren't here.
Right. And the literal translation of this would say your two daughters who are found. So this could mean one of two things. Your two daughters who are found here, meaning, aside from the other two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also mean two daughters who were found or acquired when Lot went out to speak to his sons-in-law. And that actually fits very well with the Hebrew context on how this word is typically used. So if I went out to look for something and I found that thing and brought it with me, I would describe it in exactly the same way the two daughters are described here when Lot goes to talk to his sons-in-law. So just from a contextual standpoint, it would seem as though the verbiage, the two daughters who are found, are referring to the two daughters that were found when Lot went out to talk to his sons-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's other things. For example, it's possible that Lot's daughters were not yet married. They were only betrothed. And in that case, we can actually make that fit, because the word that is referring to the daughters, when it says the daughters who are married, let's see where it says that. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters. The word married isn't technically in there. It's actually the Hebrew word for take or taken. So his daughters who were taken. And that could also mean daughters that were pledged to be married. It doesn't have to state that they were married.
And they were about to get married, which is why they're so devastated about still being virgins.
Right.
Bam. Maybe there were two.
Well, yeah. So if there were two, and we say they were betrothed but not married yet,
mm-hmm.
which you could say, because the text doesn't say they were married. It says they were taken, which could also mean pledged. It doesn't have to mean they're completely married yet.
Mm-hmm.
The difficult part with this view, though, is that the men are typically referred to as sons-in-laws in English, or the descriptor in Hebrew, Chatanah, basically just means through marriage. So it would say sons through marriage. And that would lead you to believe that, well, they're sons through marriage. But as we know, in Hebrew marriage, there are multiple stages. There's the betrothal stage, and then there's the officially wed stage.
Why would they still be called sons-in-law?
That's the question, is at which point do they become sons-in-law, and
mm-hmm.
at which point do they just become men who have pledged?
Well,
I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer.
Well, if I knew the answer, a lot of people wouldn't know the answer, because it would be in every commentary. But being that it's still an open question, we have
All right, we'll have to ask our audience.
I say, yeah, we have no other choice other than to leave the answer open. But we do have two possible answers.
Yeah, I know. There's either 4 or 2.
Yeah, those are the two ways to square up this text in, well, how could they be virgins but also be married?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm.
I personally am not, pun intended,
Yeah,
I'm not
see
married
that.
to either theory.
Oh.
I think either one of them has strengths and weaknesses.
You know what? I thought there were 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought there were 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess now I'm just thinking about later on when, I hope, spoiler alert here, but they're like, oh, we're going to be virgins forever. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get our father drunk and rape. But maybe that's what happened. They were about to get married. You know what
Right.
I mean? And now they're like, oh, well, now what are we going to do? Everybody's dead. So that actually kind of makes it seem like there might have just been 2.
Yeah, that does make some sense out of the fact that they were so eager
Yeah.
to, quote unquote, preserve their family line.
Yeah. Because otherwise, why would they have been, right?
Right. Why else would they have been so eager?
Yeah, they were probably thinking about it. It's probably going to happen like next week or something,
I don't know when, but
I don't know either.
we
But
see that in Judges too. There was the